There is a preset order that we have to follow. There is a preset preparation we have to make before we go to overseas country. Any country you want to go, there is a preparation. There is so much of running here and there and collecting all the documents and encountering the authorities, and they send you back and say, get this paper, get that paper, and unnecessarily running away and waiting in a long line, long queues, lot of frustrations. But to go back towards your eternal happiness, the eternal peace, the eternal ananda, which you don't find all these things in this world. These are preset process. If you belong to the spiritual world, that means you don't belong to this world. You don't belong to this world, you don't belong to your country. Then smaller than your country is your district. You don't belong to your district. Then smaller than that is your family. You don't belong to your family. And the last one, the very good point is you don't belong to your body. You are living in this body as a soul, but you don't belong to this body. And to understand this is the process how you detach yourself from this material world and attach yourself to the spiritual world. This is the process. So how the soul can think that I am not this body, I don't belong to this body, I am different from this body. Example, very good example. Just like a car and a driver. The driver doesn't belong to the car, right? The driver is different. The driver is a living person, and the car is a dead material. Why? Because you talk to the car, you say hi, hello, how are you? The car will not talk to you, will not respond like a person. So car is a dead matter, and the only living force is the driver. So imagine, it is easy to imagine that a driver is different from the car. Similarly, the driver, if you take the body in the soul situation, the driver is the soul and the body is the car compared to the car. So over there, just like the driver is different from the car, similarly the soul is different from the body. Over there, the only living person is the driver, not the car. The car is always dead. Similarly, in this body, the only living person is soul. The body is always dead. You have to remember this. The body is always matter. It's always dead. Only the living person in this car and driver scenario is the driver is the only living person there. Similarly, in our situation, the only living person is the soul. Body is appearing to be alive, but it is not living. Like TV. TV is when the electric current goes, then it appears to be alive. When there is no electric current, the TV cannot function, cannot do anything at all. So when the electric charge goes, then the TV comes into life. So one must have to know that's a process how you can detach yourself from your body. You have to detach yourself. You have to feel indifferent from this body. That's happened when you get spiritually charged. When you are materially overtaken by material energy, that will be very difficult to detach yourself or able to become indifferent from the body. You will think that this is my body and this is the body and this is me. This body is me. Never think that this body is me. This body is your vehicle. You are the driver only. And that a time will come, the driver has to come out one day and go and leave this body here. So the Atma is the driver, Atma, the soul is the driver which is driving this body. And you have to leave this body and go. The Atma has to leave this body. So when you are able to realize that now you are just alone as Atma, as soul, like you belong to the spiritual world, and to know that you belong to the spiritual world, then first thing you must know you don't even belong to the material world, this world which you are living now. So you don't belong. So how you go? The first step is you don't belong to this country, you don't belong to this world, you don't belong to this family, you don't belong to this body. Then now you only what is left? Only you left, which is soul. And then you have to ask, the soul has to inquire, then where I belong to? Then from there you will be able to understand, now I belong to the spiritual world, because in this world I am getting birth, death, old age, disease, all the miseries, all the unhappiness. So I am just suffering here. So I don't belong to this world, a suffering world, a temporary world where after 70 years of bliss, I get kicked out, which is an embarrassing situation. Right? A death is an embarrassing situation. Suppose somebody gives you a rented flat, and suddenly he comes and said, "You get out of this place today. Just get out." Then how embarrassing you gonna feel? You'll see your children there, your wife there, and then they all are kicked out and out of the house. It's an embarrassing situation for you. Similarly, all of a sudden, the notice will come. You'll be kicked out. It is an embarrassing situation. So when you're doing lot of spiritual activities, like waking up early in the morning, chanting Hare Krishna mantra, doing Mangalarti, eating prasadam, meaning that having very close association with Lord and the Lord's activities, and remembering Him and chanting His glories, hearing His glories, broadcasting His glories. So that is all called association with the Lord. So when you are actually you are saving Lord by doing all this bhakti. So by doing all these bhakti activities, then Lord will grant you a special mercy, a special permission, a special ability to attach yourself to spiritual nature, never attached to material nature, which is full of regression. But when Lord, after doing all these spiritual activities all the time attaching yourself with spiritual activities, then Lord grants you special mercy. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Lord will give you intelligence. Ena mam upayantite. By that you can able to get Krishna and get his dham. So when you get fully spiritualized, in that state, you will realize actually that you are not this body, you are actually Atma in the body. You are different. You will be easily able to differentiate between body and Atma. And you will act indifferently. Now you are acting as body, or you are acting according to the bodily condition. But when chanting Maha Mantra all the time, you are getting highly spiritualized. With that spiritual energy, you'll be able to detach yourself from this material world and from this bodily concept of life, and then you'll be able to realize that you are Atma. And then when you are able to come and know that you are Atma, then you'll think that automatically knowing your Atma means knowing the Supreme Lord simultaneously. Remember this point. Just like knowing somebody is cooking rice. So you take one sample of rice and press. If one sample is done, then all the rice has been cooked. So if you know the sample, that means you know the whole rice has been cooked just by knowing the sample. So Atma is a sample of Lord. So if you know your Atma, then the Atma has the same quality as the Lord. So if you know the Atma, you'll also know Paramatma simultaneously. They are called Swajatiye, same Jat. They belong to the same Swajatiye. The Jat of Atma and the Jat of Lord is same. The qualities of Atma and the qualities of Lord is same. So knowing your Atma, knowing your quality of yourself is same as knowing Krishna, because you are same with Krishna by quality and different in quantity. So once doing spiritual practice, when you are able to realize that you are Atma, then Paramatma is reached. You will be able to know Krishna. And then after that, after Krishna said that Jakar Marat Nam Muk Ava Adam Hoy Mukti Shri Gava Antkal Mamu Suran Muktava Kalebram. In that way, when you are spiritually charged, only then upon death you will be able to remember Krishna. And after remembering Krishna, you will be transferred to spiritual world. And when you go back, you are with Radha and Krishna. That is your spiritual perfection. Hare Krishna.